Then, Rob, I want to ask you this, though. What if, as you and I both expect, and I think most people expect, I'm not saying it's a gimme because they're at home and because of the way Game 6 ended. I still think Miami's going to come out and play hard and that it's up to the Celtics to bring their A game and put this thing away. But I think they will do it. But, Rob, if that happens, you were saying it last hour. Everybody was praising Coach Eric Spoelstra, who's already been listed as a top 15 coach in NBA history for the 2 titles he won with LeBron, D. Wade, and Chris Bosh. But let's start with him, and we'll get to Jimmy Butler after that. What do you think are kind of the ramifications for Spoelstra and Heat culture if they become the first team, as everybody was praising them, but they become the first team in NBA history to lose a series after leading 3-0?
I think that people will walk back all that praise and the Heat way and Riley and the players, because it will be a massive choke job, Chris, because once you're up 3-0, you just got to win one game. And they had a couple games at home.
Yeah, they did.
It ain't like
2 of the 3 were at home.
Right. It's not like, well, it was 3 games first at home, they won all 3, and then had to go to Boston and lost all 3. Do you see? Like, it wasn't like that. So I think people will rethink that and then start to think of, like, the Heat are a nice story or a nice team and it's good, but they're not good enough to win. That they can't win. Like, they're missing. It's nice, Jimmy Butler, playoff Jimmy, all that. And Spoelstra's this, and he's buttoned up, and they always come to compete, and they got these kids who weren't drafted, and they play hard, and this and that. Chris, at some point you got to win. Spoelstra too. I'm not taking away the championship with LeBron, but with that squad, I think they underachieved when he was there. They only won 2 out of 4. They didn't do anything special with those 3 players at that time, Chris. Right?
No, I agree. Look,
they didn't do anything special. They did like the bare minimum. And if it wasn't for Ray Allen, right, it was going to be a disaster, Chris. Right. I would have called it a disaster.
I was on ESPN SportsCenter the night when LeBron decided he was going there. And if you had told me, Rob, at the time, we knew they signed for 4 years.
Right.
That they're going to win 2 championships in the next 4 years, I would have been like, that's it? Are you crazy? They're winning at least 3. And to your point, they only won 2. And we all know, with all due respect to the Mavericks and Dirk Nowitzki and all that, Miami should have won that series. That was a choke job, I think, Rob.
Yep.
Here's where I disagree with you on this year. I don't think it'll be a choke job for reasons, some of which you mentioned. Boston's better. Like clearly better.
I agree with that, Chris.
Right?
But once
not
you're
slightly better.
Right. But once you're up 3-0 and you have 2 home games, you don't need to win 4 games in Boston. Win 1 game in Boston or something. Like, you have 2 home games.
But and I was saying this the week you were gone. When you're a player, we look at it from the outside of, man, but there's no way Boston can win 4 straight games. Or heck, even the next 3 to beat. Let's keep it real. But as a player, they're out there saying, first of all, we're better than these dudes.
Right. And you're not
we can beat them 1 game at a time. Right?
Right. I was just going to say that.
It's a long game. It's not happenstance type thing.
And it's not you're winning 4 games at one day. Right. But it's 1 game, just like there's no carryover. Okay, because easily Miami could say, if we box out or do what we're supposed to, we going to the championship. They can't look at like the other game and be concerned about it. You just got to go out and play 48 minutes. It's a separate game. I don't know. Maybe Tatum, Chris, shoots 3 for 17 tonight. Do we know that? Like, he might shoot 3 for 7. Right.
Saturday, and Bam Adebayo was 4 for 16.
That's what I mean. But, like, they could have a game like that.
Absolutely. But I just think, and I was even saying this when it was like 3-1, and maybe even 3-0, I'm not sure. It's up to Boston, Rob. Like, they're better. Chad Finn just said it. If they come out and do what they need to do, they win.
I don't doubt that at all. If they play what they're supposed to do. Right.
And that's why I think, and I get it, it will go down as a choke job. Like you said, if you were still a columnist, you would write they choke.
Oh,
I get all that.
Yep.
But I think in reality, they never should have been up 3-0. They are fortunate to, be in this series. Let's keep it real. Milwaukee was better. New York wasn't better, but, so. And Philadelphia, you could argue, was a better. Although Philly doesn't have the heart, I don't think, and the mental toughness to beat Miami. But, yeah, I just think that if you down in history, there's no doubt years from now, people will look at it as a choke job. But in the moment, I'm saying, you know what? This is just a team that never should have been up 3-0. And the better team woke up and beat them 4 straight, if indeed that happens. Now, let's get to Butler, because Butler has been getting much love as playoff Jimmy. I have said he's just about done building his resume for a Hall of Fame career.
Not so fast.
Yeah, so where you, what type of hit, if any,
a major
does
hit
Jimmy Butler get if they lose this? Go ahead.
Chris, I think it would be a major hit from the standpoint of the little engine who couldn't. I think right now, if they got to the finals and they had beaten Boston or whatever, he would have had a golden chance on being in the Hall of Fame. And I don't know all the criteria. It's a little different and stuff, but I think the door is closed on him if they choke this down, because it's never happened.
In the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, I think that. And I'm not saying close forever, but that talk just got cold water poured on it. How's that? That's probably better.
I hear you, but I disagree.
Okay.
I think, Rob, he's already done enough. He's been freaking Paul Bunyan-like.
But he hasn't won, though.
No, but he's not supposed to. That's the thing. He's not LeBron. He's not even Anthony Davis or, in my opinion, Jason Tatum. But some might argue that. But, he's Steph Curry, Joel Embiid, he's not one of those guys, Durant, where he was even supposed to be this far. And look at what he's dragging, with all due respect to these guys, because they play with heart. They got my respect. But, Rob, let's look at all the other teams that have advanced far and some that aren't even playing right now. Phoenix, you got Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. L.A., you had LeBron and A.D. Golden State, Steph, Clay, Draymond. Denver's got Jokic and Jamal Murray, who we know is all-star caliber, even if he hadn't made an all-star team yet. Milwaukee, they're done, but they were done early. But Boston's got Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Philadelphia had Embiid and Harden. My point is, it's Jimmy Butler and who? I mean, Bam. Bam is a good player. He's made a couple all-star teams, but I don't think you would put him on the level of any of the duos I mentioned. Maybe Murray. Maybe you put him with Jamal Murray, but even he has an overachiever, thing about him. He's undersized for a big. And so I just think, honestly, Rob, I think Butler deserves praise for getting them this far if they lose tonight.
See, I don't think so. When you're up 3-0, it would be different, Chris, if this was 1-1, 2-2, you know what I mean, and then 3-3 and then they lost, then I think that would be it. But this will go down as a choke job. That's the problem with this. And Jimmy Butler was the main dude on that. And Jimmy Butler shot 5 for 21 in Game 6 at home or whatever. Do you see what I'm saying? And if he has a bad night tonight, that playoff Jimmy might be all soggy and wet. That's all I'm saying is look,
I hear it.
If he has a bad night in Game 7,
I think if he has a bad night, I don't expect him to go berserk. I would be shocked if he put up a 40 piece or something like that. But I think it's just the burden, and I don't even mean mentally. I don't think that dude cracks. I mean, I know his background. We all know his background. Like, he's tough as they come. But I just think physically, I don't think he can do it. He's been carrying this team for 3 rounds now. And at some point, you need some help. Jason Tatum, when he was cold, his teammates picked him up. And I know these guys, Gabe Vincent and Caleb Martin, they've played above their heads. Duncan Robinson hit some big shots in Game 6, even though he missed 2 wide open threes that might have won it for him late in that game. I think it's, like I said, he doesn't have a dynamic duo like all the rest of these teams out there.
That's fair, but I'm just saying the way that they lose, it's one thing. If you say, hey, Jimmy, you don't have anybody, and you're not in a 3-0, Chris, then people can buy into that and say, oh, look at the numbers he put up. It's unbelievable what he was able to do. But when you're up 3-0 and you just need to help your team win one game, and Game 6 at home, you turn it a stinker. It's hard for me to think Hall of Fame. I'm just saying, especially if they lose tonight, too.
Just about all the Hall of Famers had stinkers at some point.
Yeah, I get it, but he hadn't won anything. That's what I'm saying.
Nah, but a lot. I mean, you know the Basketball Hall of Fame, and again, don't go off on the baseball.
All right, well, go ahead. Set me up. I'm going to dunk it. Go ahead.
Scott Rowland.
What? Hello? Is this on?
But
Scott who?